Good morning, everyone. Um, Today, for disaster management, we are going to learn about role of police in disaster management and non-government organizations and community-based organization in disaster management. Okay, the prime aim and objective of understanding the various roles that police, NGOs, and community based organizations are working for disaster management is that to how they are working, uh, what are the areas they are addressing, and if there is any other aspect that has to be covered, and what are the protocols that has to be followed during disaster by the various organizations. So let's start with the lecture. Let's start taking up the role of police in disaster management. Police organization has to see itself as a major player in disaster management. It will continue to have first respond role given in the proximity to the incident site and relationship with the people. Therefore, it has to bring about a change in approaches. It has to adopt disaster management function as one of the primary function that states district level authority cannot afford to wait for a response, and specialized forces such as NDRF to come into the time. So the first player or the first respondent during disaster management or disaster is police. So if in case there is a fire outbreak or earthquake or you know any incidents, even civil riots or accident, who comes into the first role? uh, Police comes into the first role to see, assess, and report about the incidences. So because at that nick of time, where you cannot expect NDRF to be disseminated to that area, because the most locally available organization or authority to deal with disaster could be only police, because they have some sort of training and also a structure to be followed during disaster management, right? So local police must be trained, equipped, and support the legislation and logistics so that they find themselves capable to support victims in disasters situations. Okay, subsequently they can play a supporting role to specialized forces if and when they come in a bigger emergency case. Many occasions, special forces are not required, and local police are, retain uh, the primary role. Local police retains the basic and primary role to help the needy or the victims. Outside the forces are also handicapped, when operating in unknown areas. So among unknown people, there is the key to critical role is that police. So police being a localized, they are more acquainted to that area, people, and the customs and culture of that region. So you cannot expect outside organization to come and immediately be able to make acquainted to that area, no. And especially in the time of emergency, they cannot. So they will be requiring assistance from the police forces. Moreover, many occasions it might not be advisable or feasible to obtain or deploy armed forces or NDRF. Hence the state police must be prepared as response forces. So there are many sensitive places where deployment of armed forces could be volatile. Specifically, when we are talking about Indian disaster management, we have many volatile areas where deployment of armed forces for assistance could turn out to be volatile. So localized state police can work in those areas where they are acquainted with the local people. Okay, so police among are the first responder in any crisis. So because local police arrives at first to assess the situation, and they are familiar with the terrain, and their familiarity with the people, demography, um, and wider reaches they have, and like every village is covered under them. It possesses a well developed communication system, but knowledge of local people feeling and mindset are also in sync with the local police. So people recognize police as the first responder, informed or and it is in uniform and disciplined to in approach of working, right? So what we need in the time, in the nick of the time, is that because the better your response is, the lesser your losses will be, right? So if the better the your police action force is trained to deal with the disaster, the better, or the lesser you will face the losses, and the response will be faster. Police are among the being the first responder, while functions of police are also well defined and an integral emergency. Same is not true in the nature, time in the form of natural disaster, but wherever earthquakes or flood occurs, the police gets involved from the initial stage itself, from the beginning of the disaster itself. So hence, if their role is designated and documented on the police manuals, or standing operating procedure that has been handed over to them, disaster management act and policies, it will also have facilitates it will also facilitate them to immediately effective response at that time. Okay, so at least in the first few hours, these are the most critical actions that has to be taken by the to contain the disaster. So hence police plays a very vital role in containment of the losses, right? So then what we have, hence the need for a framework that can help the police force in the beginning prepare and respond appropriate whenever any disaster happens. Okay. uh, Now, role of police before disaster for prevention and mitigation. So like superintendent of police of a district is a member of district management authority, like DDMA, and in this capacity he could play an important role in prevention and preparedness phase. So for the the initial phase for prevention and preparedness, superintendent of police, being a part of the DDMA, can help build the capacity in of that region by prevention and preparedness during the preparedness phase. Now, emergency traffic plan can be well organized and utilized. Being familiar with the local terrain, police should prepare emergency traffic plan, including detailed mapping with focus on strategic point, which may use at times of incidents for safety transporting of personals, resources, and goods to relieve goods to and from the affected areas. Like they can help Being familiar with that area, with people, with the terrain, police can help prepare an emergency traffic plan and include a detailed map with a focus to, strategic focus on areas where you require incidents for, incident safety transport, like wherever you require ambulance and rescue teams to be disseminated, so you can have the traffic flow cleared for those vehicles, those logistics to reach there, providing relief goods like food, shelter, medicines to the affected people, and also rescuing, and the rescue teams also can be assimilated, right. Now detailed communication plan can be established. Police has a robust and effective communication system uh, that is also for non police functions basically. So it can also be used to propagate information and warning to of a threatening disaster. Thus police can develop communication protocol for responding during disaster. For example, designate a separate channel for rescue, relief, relief. For example, person who are present at the village could play important role to collect sensitive information and disseminate emergency warning and other information. Okay. So what detailed communication a police can do is that police can having a robust communication system. It can all, mostly they are using it for a non official purposes, but they can use it for propagating information and disseminating information regarding the threatening situation that is going to be, and also develop a communication protocol for response during the disaster, like there can be a different channel for rescue operations, there can be a different channel for providing relief assistance, there can be a different channel for receiving information from the affected areas. So all channels can be given up for proper communication plan. Disaster prevention and mitigation, for that they can also identify, identification of the building can be done because they are familiar with the terrain and the locality. Police personals travel in their area frequently, and they know, and they can be a great help in identifying the buildings and campus which are easy to access and could be used as a relief and shelter, or center for relief operations, or where you have a, where you can establish a relief camps also, and go down for a storage of a food grains and rescues, and rescue others from a the situation. Also relief materials storage can also be seen up. Then you have security plans at the time of any serious incident. It becomes inevitable to provide security to the victims, responders, and the relief material at the storage point and during the transit. Resource deployment, too many requires, also requires security. Now what happens is during disaster, because there is a a sense of insecurity, chaos, and unrestness into the people. There are few people who will, out of insecurity, or will try to victimize the victims of disaster, and try to take up what they require, and more than what they require. So they may barge into storage systems where food grains are there, or medical facilities where medicines are stored, or hospitals where what do you call, doctors and medical service givers are working, and they can be furthermore taken into hostage or forced into doing some certain things, right. So for that they require security, and here police provides as a security deployed to the required resources for, that is to be safeguard during disaster. Now, resource mapping can also be, taken in with, within hand, with police working. So it is very important to locate essential resources at the very beginning of search and rescue operations. So what happens is, it is important to locate essential resources, like where are the hospitals, where are the godowns, where are the food grains, or where can we find medical supplies. All right. So those locations can be taken in consideration before we can disseminate search and rescue teams and workers. Right. So it has been experienced during uh, Kosi River flood in 2008, where large amount of area was inundated, and that in rescue and relief workers, even small and tiny elements became very important, like food grain for predominantly, and medical supplies were becoming very important, and safe water also. So very every tiny resources were very important. So local police could identify these areas, locate and document the general essential elements useful for different kinds of disasters. Now, this resource may have to be operated under guidance and operation of a police. Uh, Timing of men in uniform is are like, you have to have a proper training for proper timely, the better your training is, so better your timing at the time of reaction, at the time of disaster will be. So training men in uniform are most visible and reliable government agencies nearest is to the people, and at the time of difficulties are police. So police should conduct mock exercise with various stakeholders, and should test and update their different plans. So the mock drills can be, should be, in working in hand with policemen, because they are trained, and they can provide impart these trainings to the important stakeholders, like education institution, whether it's school or colleges. Then you can have other private organizations that can provide assistance, or like for example drugstores or small medical centers. They can be given training to them, and then we have small community organizations and societies that can be given training to deal with various disasters. um, Primary role here now, disaster emergency response phase. In this phase, the primary role of police is evident during disaster management for a actual disaster situations. It includes search and rescue, that is SAR operations. Primary functions, during a disaster, policemen must be trained and equipped to begin rescue. Uh, at the earliest, it takes advantages, and they would be able to provide immediate relief to the victim till specialized forces arrives. So during such activities, police has to provide protection to boats that are put into operation during flood situations. So resources, for example, deployment of policemen on the boat, playing in a flood helps prevent overcrowding of boats, and preventing capsizing the boats also. So what is there in SARS, why we require police assistance? It's a primary function during disaster. Like SARS is the cardinal function, moreover, that police must be trained and equipped to begin this rescue operation, and we cannot they cannot be waiting for the uh, other organizations to come in and help in or rescue authorities, that is there like NDRF, to come and start rescue operations. So they begin the rescue operation, so they will be trained to begin the rescue operation at the earliest point. The best part of this is that immediately we will be able to provide relief to the victims, and a specialized force can while specialized forces can arrive. So during such activities, police has to provide protection to both in at a time of if you have flood like situations, you have to protect those resources, the resources which is going to be important for rescue operations. That has to be protected, that has to be secured from overcrowding and also getting capsized by the public who are agitated publics, right? Now we have a development of resources. Police can help in development of resources, provide safety and security to the resource that the personal meaning them for restoration of communication system with rescue teams. Telephonic communication breaks down, since in most of the disaster, communication systems can break down. And since the telephone towers are no more there and it cannot be functioned and destroyed, uh, you cannot use landline or mobile phones for the communication. So what you need is, during a flood or any other disaster, most of the rescue team operations in an unknown territory under the adverse condition, where landmarks are either washed away or destroyed, make an available police communication resources. So like you have radio, mobile radios, where you can use these for communication, for communicating to attain the resources for rescue operations. So for other disaster management tasks, relief distribution and medical team standby for the emergency communication network can be communicated through these mediums. Now prevention of communication of cognizable offense, including all offense against property, human body, or public in tranquility, can be taken in consideration. So it is like for the response phase, prevention of commission of any cognizable offense to happen, right? It can include property, you can be looted or you can be robbed, or so property rights, human rights, and public tranquility rights, means the public safety rights, can be prevented with the help of the police. During disaster situation, people abandon their houses with without even taking their belongings. So there can be people getting into the houses to attain or to gain the belongings or expensive things that is there in their houses. The safety and security of such houses and belonging is at risk, so police can take a patrol and keep these areas safe. Now, during such time, people are without jobs, and hence incidences of crime also increases in general. So, it also provides opportunity for other elements, such as robbers and thieves, to commit these cognizable offenses. Looting, then against property, then breakage are some of these cognizable offenses that can be recorded or can be curtailed down by the police. The similar vulnerable section of the society, particularly women and children, those who are susceptible towards crime against humanities, police can provide them safety to such personals by an active patrolling during disaster, and by arresting the suspected beforehand the investigation of the cases starts. Okay, so because police are aware who are the suspect and what can happen, who can act in these areas, they are the best people to react at the time for providing security to the people. Now, security during relief distribution and relief management. Distribution is an important aspect of disaster management. Like the designated relief distribution center is generally located in interior. Therefore, the security of persons, engaged in distribution and the materials to be distributed require a special attention. Then the security of, again, grains and other relief materials, for example food packets being transported from one place to another to the distribution center, is also important. And dedicated escorts are needed from the these godowns to various dissemination centers. Okay, the security of the food godowns, railway stations, where relief materials are received, are also required, and for the security. uh, Relief materials sent by the NGOs, for example, etc., are is an important, and police can play a significant role in guarding these materials. Now, during actual distribution of relief, large number of people gather at the relief centers. The crowd management also becomes an important part. The regulation of the process of the distribution of relief can help in maintaining law and order. So isolate the disaster site and control the site or access of the safety for victims and general public, and deficiency of any incident operation. Then we have camp management. So security of camp, immediates officials and volunteer engaged in running of camps, including health workers, is core functions. Now, during Kosi disaster, over 100 relief camps had people from many villages with different religious and political and caste background, and thus had a potential of a friction to happen. So because it was an amalgamation of different religious, political, and caste of the people, so they could spark a friction in the camps, the relief camps. Because in India, even we are being secular, we are amalgamation of various aspects of life, but living together even in normal situation, we get cross fictions against each other. But this can accelerate furthermore when we are in a crisis situation, living in a camps. Okay, so this requires deployment of law and order maintenance. So government and many non-government employees volunteer and are engaged in running of the kitchens, medical centers, sanitation units. They require protection from all and at all time. Okay. Now, during emergency response phase, emergency transportation and traffic regulation, police has to. Sorry, this is too large of a slide. Let me reduce it. Okay. No, so police has to facilitate the movement of rescue, medical, and fire operations. Like during a Kosi disaster, highway roads had to be kept free for movement of rescue teams and relief materials. Checkpost was established for ensuring safety of relief materials. Road patrols were arranged for safety passengers of army convoy boats and other resources sent from outside the sites. And for the vehicle of army are arranged. Other essential services control traffic during and after the incidents and maintaining the access and egress of the routes. Oh, then we have available police resources to transport, rescue, and relief personals and victims. Assisting in managing a huge was a problem in the handling of the relief supplies. So in Kosi River flood, we could see that transportation, maintaining the regular proper flow was becoming a challenge. So police has to facilitate movement of rescue medical teams and fire during the disaster of Kosi River floods, and they have to maintain proper check post and establish a proper control system into for a proper flow of the disaster uh, management. All right. So now, according with various agencies, coordination with various agencies during disaster, various agencies such as NDRF, SDRF, BSF, CRPF, CISF, they are all forces, army, air force, coast guards. They are all forces who were working with for rescue operations. Medical teams from outside the state were also arrived in. It was seen during Kosi River flood. The external agencies are also informed about the physical terrain, route and charts. With the help of police, can also coordinating with them. So there was always a team of police with all these teams to coordinate, simultaneously giving them information about the terrain and the logistics, and also about the demography. Police can function in link with external agencies, since most of them are uniformed personnel, so it is easy for them to have a better communication among these personals. Now, then we have coordination among police and other agencies needs to be standardized to clear in clear procedure protocols. So for that we have standard operating procedure. The protocols are needed to be deployed resources in case of disaster in a manner that is well coordinated between local, state and central emergency agencies, including the armed forces. Importantly, police organization do not stand alone in doing with necessary to deal with major disaster. Instead, police agencies must be integrated with and able to cooperate with other police and emergency services. All right. Casualty information and disposal or dead bodies, the identification of the people involving in the incidences, in police responsibility. All inquiries could be handled by police station staff. Tracking of missing person and notification in their next to kin could be another area of work allotted to the police. The disposal of dead bodies and documentation of dead bodies and missing personals can also be done with the help of the police personals. The media management during any disaster situation, information flow through the audio visual as well as print media. The report from form need to be verified as soon as visible, possible for quick response. The police can not only verify the fact of information, but also play an important role in briefing the media regarding the actual situation. This can help in checking the spread of rumors. Certain countries, police officers play a role of police press, offers officers are seen in the for major emergency and coordination response with the media for the inquiries. Now, VIP securities, the visit affected areas and relief camps frequently are visited by VIPs, and many times politically opposed distrustful resort of protest can be uprising in those areas, and hence they require protection. So a local police or a team of local police are assisted in that. Now, role of police during post disaster in a long operation of evacuation shelter, the issues over the shelter could change and if they are not addressed soon, they could create law and order problem. And therefore it is important to find the cause of the problem as soon as it is possible to access the situation. And situation of reviewing the various ways to curtail it. Accommodation of personals with special meds and evacuation shelters, such as small children, pregnant women, and mother with nursing infants, etc., require utmost care in a and a limited shelter space. So it is very important to provide special rooms for these. Police can play a very important role in that respect. So then you have relief distribution for primary accommodation and restoration of critical infrastructures are also done with the assistance of your local police, like victim support for disabled and issue related to hygiene, infection, disease should be locked after carefully without with a wise it creates various problems in restoration of phases. Now police can play an important role in selection of beneficiary of the houses and other assets to the victims to avoid complication in legislations. Hmm. Then you have restorations of critical infrastructure. Disaster usually affect the critical infrastructure such as road, telecommunication, health centers, school, electricity supply, etc. Police can provide protection to agencies which are involved in the restoration of such infrastructure, because police who are rendered jobless for after disaster may be hindered in the process. So safe exit of the personnel involved in the disaster management, various personals, various organization who are working during post disaster for search and rescue operations, assistance, providing relief assistance like NGOs, medical team. They need safe passage to when they are retracting back. So since the police is a key factor in managing the disaster, their feedback assessment is very important in updating the plan for the future. Now, contingency planning. The police familiar with the local terrain and the resource available in the locality. They can plan the action taken at the time of disaster beforehand. Okay. What are the challenges that they may face? The problem, the possible threat to the police for the areas and prevention of the disaster. The solution is it must be started from the beginning. It is the first duty to obey the law, and many times the concerned department do not do their work properly, and even the disaster after the disaster happens. So all at all costs it is mandatory for all to apply uniform and standard prevention activities, given the National Disaster Management Authority giving their building codes and guidelines to be followed during disaster. Now, the challenges and measures are that there's a lack of clear ideas about specific disaster vulnerability and deflating the government abilities to understand the targeted measures of their prevention or mitigation. Now, solution is that the police should be aware of important hazards in that area of their region, and a level of probable danger that can happen, and adequate information of the relevant assistance. Then agency should be required to exert certain bylaws to be followed, and expert can be consulted in on the at the time of monitoring it. Then we have lack of proper technical assistance and other backup measures. So solutions like seeking support from NDRF, SDRF, Home Guard, Civil Defense, NGOs, academic institutions, and training and awareness about the technical equipments, and conduct mock drills according to the place and area. So population and respective hazard that can pertain in that region. Absence of proper guidelines for preparation of disaster management plan at the various level, and workable disaster management plan poses a major challenge. So there has to be a proper guidelines that is already set by the National Disaster Management Authority. If you go into their site, you can see there are guidelines for various disaster, various authorities, and different stakeholders. There are guidelines given to how they are supposed to work. Like finance also, they have their own guidelines for how police are supposed to work, what are the jurisdictions of their area, what are the standard operating procedures that have been handed over to them. Then we have other government agencies and departments that has to be given these guidelines. So they are all documented and provided. Only the challenge is that they have to follow it in a proper manner. Then we have role of NGOs and committee based organization in disaster management. Here NGOs, that is they are non-profit organization or association of private citizen with a common interest in the assistance and disaster affected people. Now NGOs plays an important role in disaster response, mitigation, and disaster reduction and rescue coordination in different regions. So NGO response focuses on emergency food relief, temporary shelters, emergency medical aid, debris removal, habitat restoration, trauma counseling, and raising families. Uh, then we have the shift in the form of relief centric approach to a multi-dimensional endeavors, involving a diverse scientific engineering, financial and social process to adopt a multidisciplinary and multi-sectoral approaches, right? So then we provide supports like health, education, and health, education, security, nutrition, and environment, etc. Okay. So with that we you know NGOs are active in responding to various disaster in different phases. In the pre-disaster phase, should include awareness generation, education training, and formation of villages level task forces, disaster management committee and team, deployment of disaster management uh, uh, then deployment of disaster management plan and team to work in coordinates. Then you have uh, conduction of mock drills, vulnerable assessment and coordination with government and non-government agencies play a key role in immediate aftermath of disaster by extending assistance in rescue and first aid situation, and assistance to external agencies bringing relief materials during the post disaster phase. NGOs can take a lead by providing technical and material support for safe construction, revival of educational institution and restoration of means of livelihood, and assist the government in monitoring the phases of implementation for various construction and recovery. Okay. So then we have NGOs also have to start collect with corporate entities, private partnership, like PPP, that is public private partnership. Projects can be taken up, corporations social responsibility can taken up for disaster management in various at state, district, or sub district level. NGOs are organization registered under various Indian laws such as Society Registration Act, Companies Act, and non-profit profit company and state specific public charitable trust act. So NGOs have come together through network, coalition, and alliances, so as to offer value added humanitarian service. Notably, for example, like Voluntary Health Association of India, Voluntary Action Network India, Sphere India, Alliance for Adaptation, Disaster Risk Reduction, and Federation of Volunteer Association. So we have numerous opportunities that provides NGO are given, that is setting up a functional NGO coordination platform during non emergency time. NGO can have instructions and arrangements in that coordination and accessibility during a disaster. Arrangements and processes can be done. Valuable things can be uh, be used utilized to in their assistance. Setting up of communication and commutation processes can be established here. Now there's an inadequate inherent challenges in standard of good practices. Then lack of clear strategies can be there in the transit. Neglect of rural and rural and urban diversity and primary attention to the areas. Inadequate transparency and accountability of donations can be there. Weak coordination, brief time span, and neglect to remote and non-accessible areas can be there. That is the main challenge with the NGOs. Geographic spread of NGOs, volume of support provided to NGOs, and institutional mechanism to NGOs are vital to action for the disaster management at every level, whether it's state level, district level, or sub district level. Now coordination, you can have a proper coordination accesses to the various organizations, government based organizations with the NGOs. Then community participation can be in assess with the various government, non-government, and community based organizations. This is the focus on the most vulnerable rather than only epicenters of the national level of the disaster. Now, what happens in zone of collaboration and coordination? There's a government body, there's an NGO, and there's a host country or the host body area. So what you have to do is like at the time of incidences, government body plays role in like military and other organizations. Religion aspect, business, they are all like information dissemination and augmentation can be assisted by the NGOs, and businesses can be looked over by the NGOs. uh, Areas and which has been affected and by the victims, the military and religious assistance can be taken in contradiction, so they can work in hand to various areas. So the core value is that they have to have an neutrality, accountability, impartial. They have to be impartial and independent. Neutrality is like aid will not be used for further and particular political or religious standpoint, so it has to be neutral and provided to all. Accountability, if they are something that has gone wrong, that has to be addressed and owned up. Okay. Then impartial while providing aids, you are not supposed to have partiality, like okay, that person is from my caste and my creed and my religion, so I will provide more assistance to them and the not the others one. So it you have to have an impartial standpoint, regardless of race, creed, faith, and nationality. Aid is based on the need alone, so it has to be, you have to address based on the who is the needy, who is at first requirement of the aids. So independent, then you have to also work with an independence. Aid agency shall not act in an instrument of a government or a foreign policy, but they should always act as an independent body while providing assistance, but they should be working in coordination with the government agencies who are working at that areas. All right. So, what are the areas that they can address? Is water, sanitation, disabled, friendly constructions. Then you have role of NGOs are basically directing to providing shelter and public buildings and infrastructure structures. Awareness programs can be coordinated by the NGOs. Then you have community based organizations, that is local resident association, interest group or ex Rotary clubs, association of local occupation group, or religious bodies can work in hand for dealing with disasters. All right. So now we will take about the role of armed forces in the next uh, class. So for now, today we are finishing off, and we will take about talk about the role of armed forces at the time of disaster. Have a nice day. Go to your LMS and please take the quiz for today. Right.